It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Hello interwebs, it's Scott from Admiralty Entertainment, and today we are starting a brand new Advent Calendar countdown, this one being the Star Wars Droid Factory Advent Calendar, released in 2024. This is the 2024 edition of the Droid Factory Advent Calendar. We have previously looked at the original release of this, which was the 2022 version, and in that one I said I was actually going to keep the packaging. Look, I did indeed keep the packaging. Wasn't a liar. But yes, this is the 2024 edition, so a couple of years between the original release and this one. I think that's a good separation of space between them, so the concept doesn't become completely run into the ground. If they're doing annual releases, that would be a legitimate concern, I feel. But a couple of years, yeah, that works for me. Whether that means we're going to get one in 2026 as well, well, at the time of recording, we don't know. Those of you living in the future will know, and don't spoil it for the rest of us by sending messages backwards through time. Let us enjoy finding out as we go. It would be a bright, shining spark of good news ahead of us if there is indeed one in 2026. But for now, let's take a look at the packaging of this 2024 edition. So, as you will have seen briefly, the design is very, very similar to what we had on the original 2022 one. The graphics themselves of this Jawa Sandcrawler is basically the same, only they've altered the colors and added in a few more tweaks, extra illustration deco, almost as it were. But yeah, let's take a look at that. So as you can see, we've changed the base colour of the Sandcrawler from the traditional A New Hope orange to a more grey sort of thing. Whether this means they're in a different environment and so it's no longer a Sandcrawler, but maybe a Snow Crawler or a Rock Crawler or something, I don't know. I don't recall having seen any other coloured versions of Sandcrawler, so that's something which maybe Expanded Universe might cover, but I have not seen it myself. Of course, this is a really good way to be able to differentiate this from the previous release. If they do further releases, again, I'm completely up for them changing up that color again to something else. It really makes it pop, even next to the original one, which I think is great packaging from the fact that I still have it rather than having thrown it out. And this version, really does a good job in being different enough, while still being relatively similar, because they are basically the same design. You can see that they do have all ornaments in the same positions and everything else like that. It's just a case of they've added a bit more depth and detail and rust and shadows in there, which makes it a little bit more sort of dimensional, even looking at the side there. But I do like it. It doesn't seem to have the same sort of snow detail that the original one had, but I think that we more than make up for that with all this sort of nice rusty, good old Star Wars used universe sort of look. We do have this little slip cover along the side there with the green and snow and Star Wars characters and vehicles designs, going down to the Star Wars Droid Factory logo and a little sort of vintage-esque sort of blurb there of saying that it is the Droid Factory calendar in multiple languages, which helps keep the whole thing together, because without that, the front flap will indeed flap open, which we will check out in a second. The ribbon slipcover does continue around the entire box, of course. Here it is on the back, and we do have a little blurb there explaining what it is in multiple languages. This instance, this one, as opposed to the previous one, which famously did not have anything on the slipcover, but did indeed have a little blurb on the back of the box itself, which had a strange mention of a droid which didn't come in that set. This one's a little bit better than that, so let's take a look here. The blurb here works along basically the same formula as most Droid Factory entries. All different types of droids populate the Star Wars galaxy. Each droid is different and has their own unique personality and colors. Open up the Sandcrawler to reveal and build 7 new droids to celebrate along with them for 25 days this season. May the Force be with you and your droids. As you can see, the pattern does continue right way around the ribbon. That's with finger quotes, ribbon. Even on the bottom where most people won't even see it. With the slipcover off, we have a full unhindered view of the packaging. And you can see, again, it is basically exactly the same in terms of overall design as the 2022 version, but with lots more detailing done in there and texture and grittiness. We do have a couple of minor variations here. We have a little sprig of holly, which was not present on the original version. We are missing the snow, which was sort of dotted around the place. But most of it seems to be basically exactly the same. They've switched up the colours, they've switched up the overall look of it, but the placement of the ornaments, the lights, the stockings and everything else like that, they're all basically the same. They've just literally swapped palettes, added in some extra colours there. So that's nice, I don't mind that. And of course we have Happy Holidays written in Aurebesh. Top of the Sandcrawler has a little sprig of holly in the corner there, otherwise it's just this enhanced dirty metal sort of look. Again, very similar to the original, just with a different colour scheme and added grunge. The treads of the Sandcrawler on the underside of the packaging thankfully remain squished animal free. Don't really want to have a squished porg in there to bring your Christmas down. Back of the crawler is also nicely decorated with lights and bows and a big wreath, along with a couple of candy canes. And they haven't skimped out on the front either. Some lights, candy cane, and another big wreath on the sloping front of the vehicle. The graphics on the back of the package are exactly the same as the front, with the addition of this little murderer's row of figures we're going to build here, and of course the Droid factory logo. Whether this is the order they're going to come in, well, I don't know yet. We'll have to open them and see. And of course each image is in that lovely vintage style-esque chrome border. Of course, this one particular droid they've not shown us a picture of, so what's he going to look like when we get to him? I don't know. It's all part of the surprise. I personally kind of preferred it not knowing what any of them were going to be like when we got them, but I can understand from a retail point of view that you'd want to be able to excite people with images of what you're going to get, so people are more interested to buy it in the first place. But yeah, I kind of liked the complete mystery aspect, which is undermined a little bit here, but at least preserved for this one. There are a couple of pieces of tape which keep you from accessing the advent calendar part of this advent calendar, but once you cut those, the flap here just opens right up. There's no Velcro or anything else like that to keep it in place. Once it's cut, it's going to flop open, unlike some of the other advent calendars we've looked at where they do have a little tab of Velcro so you can sort of reassemble it almost, or at least store it without it being completely open like that the whole time. But yeah, once it is open, we see some very familiar graphics for those of us who have been through the original 2022 version. In fact, it's the exact same graphic here as what there was on the previous one. Check out the playlists and links in the description below to be able to check out that original one, and we'll go through the images there in probably more depth. But there is a slight amendment here in that this one image here no longer has a number right in the middle of it, which was kind of preventing us from figuring out exactly what that said. We kind of figured what it was, but this time you do actually get to see the entire words. The words are still in Aurebesh, but the point is you can actually see the whole thing now. And as previously, the inner flap is exactly the same as the outer box. So again, we're getting a lot of use out of this particular graphic. I don't mind, it's a really nice image. I particularly enjoy that, so fine, let's use that. I have no problems with that whatsoever. Okay, so that is the basics, the exterior, the packaging design, all out of the way. Let's get on to the real crux of this whole thing, the advent calendar itself. Let's start building us some droids, and we're going to do that with day number 1. So here we have the door for day number 1, right on top of the Jawas in bed, staring across at the blue milk and cookies that they've set out for Santa, while a couple of other Jawas look on, trying to see if they can catch Santa in the act or something like that. I don't know. But we do have, of course, day 1's window here, so we have a little divot to push in, and then we can pull the window open, and here we have our first little baggie. Nice little red baggie here, and it's a little tricky to get out of there. So yes, here we have Star Wars Droid Factory red baggie, and yeah, there don't seem to be anything on the back telling you what day that's relating to or anything else like that, but let us try opening it up. Opens up nice and easy, and we have our first piece, or pieces actually, for today, well, for the calendar being today. So the bag is now empty, and we have some drinks and an extra head arm. So these are obviously going to go onto an R2 unit. This is of course taken from the Jabba's barge, serving droids, notably with R4 F5 S4M. I think that was one of the previous Droid Factory exclusive droids, but of course, most famously used by R2-D2 in Return of the Jedi, actually doing his thing there. So yeah, we have a couple of accessories, almost, rather than actual droid pieces. But yeah, I mean, this technically, this arm is definitely part of the droid, so that counts as a droid piece. And I do like the way that we do have the white substance in there, whether that's milk, whether that's eggnog. I would have thought if it was eggnog, it would have been a sort of slightly browner sort of thing. So we're going to say that these are glasses of milk. Why not? So there we have it, the first entry in the Star Wars Droid Factory Advent Calendar. Perhaps not the most auspicious of starts, but hey, it's a start. Let's see what we get on day 2. Of course, that video will be up tomorrow, but if you are in the future, that video may be out already. So why not check out the links in the description below. We have playlists for Advent Calendar countdowns and Christmas videos in general to be able to check out. Also, if you liked the video, please like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe, because then we'll show up in your feed when we do upload our next video. We'll see you later because we are out of here for now, but in the meantime, please have yourselves a very happy holidays from all your friends here at Admiralty Entertainment.